Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is AshQuest, and we have a lot to get into in no particular order as we discover and or rediscover League of Dungeoneers, the expansion and second print, a crowdfunded campaign hosted on GameFound. Link in the description below. What is League of Dungeoneers? League of Dungeoneers is something that I only discovered a couple of months ago, thanks to Ribby. Shout out to Ribby for mentioning this to me. I'm sad, or was sad, because I didn't get a chance to back the original crowdfund campaign, which was on Kickstarter last year, and the game was totally funded and totally successful, and it looks so awesome. It is, or makes, the very bold claim to be basically the follow-up to WarhammerQuest 1995 edition that we've all been waiting for. Huge and bold claim, and something that immediately got my attention because I love WarhammerQuest. I hate dying in WarhammerQuest, and I die every time I play, but I love the game anyway. What's up with that? You can see from the photographs that are cycling through here that this bears a ton of strong similarities to WarhammerQuest, with the tiles that are placed down and the tile-based combat and the doors that are in between. We have a lot of differences as well, though, which you've already been able to tell, I'm sure, by looking. But we're going to look through this entire campaign. We're going to see what there is on offer, what comes with everything. And I want to note that this second edition has got a lot of fixes and things like that. You can check out the manual. I believe you can just buy the manual, or a PDF of the manual rather, so that you can check it out for yourself in detail and see if it is going to be a game for you. But we'll look at all of the tiers and everything that everything comes with right now. So this is currently funded. It had a really low goal of 25,000 euros, which I've heard it's pretty much the norm. It's actually like a standard business practice on crowdfund campaigns to do your goal much lower than what your actual costs are going to be, which explains a lot to me, because you can blow past that initial goal and you can earn the titles, the accolades on the platform itself that say this was backed in only 8 minutes, or 500% funded in only 9 hours, things like that. And those stickers get applied to your campaign, and your campaign gets pushed by the platform because we live in a world of algorithms. And then more people see it and they get confident that it's already backed. I'll just go in for one of the tiers and make sure I get a copy and basically pre-order it, set it, and forget it. Well, this is also how a lot of games fail to meet their actual costs, so they get canceled and the money is lost from the backers. But this game was already released, so I don't think that this was a matter of that happening. I think that this was just simply, we're going to release this game and we only need this much capital, maybe less than what it actually cost, but they only needed this much capital to get it reprinted and out there again, and with a brand new expansion, which by the way got my attention immediately because it's rat men. It's rat people, and if there's one thing I love, it is a knockoff of Skaven. So we've got 29 days left in this campaign, so you've got plenty of time to get in here and back it yourself. There's already 1,100 backers. This thing is 601% funded. It's currently sitting at 152,000 euros, and this video is probably going to go up in 1 or 2 days after it's recorded, because I've got other plans for the channel between that time. But when you see this, all of these numbers will be increased, except that the days will be gone. We have a stretch goal to unlock of 175,000 euros, which will improve the character art. I don't like that. I guess that does make sense, because it's like, if we can afford it, we'll get a better artist. But still, I don't like that. That's a stretch goal. 1 to 4 players, 180 minutes average playtime, 3 hours, ages 14 plus. And if you like WarhammerQuest, you're probably going to enjoy this. This is League of Dungeoneers. Let's check it out. Get into character. You have 4 species and 8 professions to choose between, and over 100 talents and perks to add to your characters as they level up. This is a very character buildy type game. So I read that about the original one in the original description on the original Kickstarter, and I really liked that detail. It looks like we have some lovely dwarves, which will be awesome to play as, and we've got so much stuff included with this. We're going to see if this includes more than the last version of the game did. Dungeons are randomized and are revealed step by step as you explore them, and there are 100 different enemies to encounter. Each enemy can also be armed in different ways each time you encounter them. I also read that about the original. It looks like there hasn't been a whole lot that's changed, which is good. It's a true sandbox game, offering countless of hours of crunchy, exciting exploration, tactical combat, character growth, and dungeon crawling. And I see outdoor maps and people set up on these outdoor maps. I wonder what that's about. We are immediately brought to the tiers without seeing what the information is regarding the tier. The first tier is King, and it is also known as the early bird or English or in English tier. This is the all-in of League of Dungeoneers. This product consists of League of Dungeoneers Queen English and the False Prophet English. League of Dungeoneers in the Queen's English. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I noticed in the original crowdfund campaign, there were just these really small, either typographical or grammatical errors or ambiguities because of the language. But anyways, this pledge contains the League of Dungeoneers core game, the Ancient Lands expansion, which is 1 book, 22 dungeon tiles, and 22 cards, and the Companions expansion, 1 book and 46 cards. This main game, this core game, comes with 96 metal coins with a faux leather pouch, which was an add-on in the original, 71 spells and prayers cards, that was another add-on in the original, the dice tray, the neoprene version of the world map, which I believe is 24 inches squared, or 600 millimeters, I think. 15 open plastic doors supplied unpainted, 10 closed doors supplied unpainted, and 691 sleeves, enough for all the cards. All of this stuff used to be add-ons for the core game in the previous Kickstarter. Now it's just part of it. It's all in. And it also comes with the Rat People expansion called the False Prophet, the rulebook PDF and the Bestiary PDF, and all stretch goals. So really, this is like the one, if you only have time to run in here and pledge for just one thing and leave, that would be it. You can, if you have the previous version of this game, just get the upgrade kit, and that's 15 euros. That's for backers of the previous print. It looks like it comes with the hardcover rulebook, a bestiary, quest book 2, 1 quick reference compendium, 32 cards, 5 cards, 43 cards, and 5 sleeves. The cards are all of different sizes, so they're obviously part of different categories. The False Prophet early bird in English. This is 42 euros, and it introduces caves and mines, as well as new quests, enemies, playable characters, and equipment. This is your Ratman expansion right here. You can also get it in Spanish. This tier comes with the Knave. That's the base tier of the game. Sorry, this is the Knave tier. Jeez. I'm not used to the way GameFound sets up their tiers. I apologize. I'm stumbling a bit, but I'm gonna keep it. We're just gonna roll with it. This is the Knave tier, so we're gonna get used to this. We're gonna learn the GameFound way, and it is 80 euros. This is the base tier of the game. It includes everything necessary to play the game, including standees, which is cool because the original League of Dungeoneers was 63 euros last year. The standees were not included. They were an add-on. So it was is known as a miniatures agnostic game. So it's kind of cool to see that they're just going ahead and throwing it in there so that you have the standees to play the game, because you might not have, hundreds of miniatures to choose from in proxy and make all of these enemies and characters, which I know it says miniatures agnostic, but I mean, when you run into 6 skeletons and you're looking and all you have is, what do I have? I have Minsk and Boo. I have the HeroQuest 2021 Assassin. I have Mentor, and I have a Warlock Halfling. Those are going to make for very poor skeletons. I'm sorry, but my immersion would be ruined. And I have Cornelius, who's also not going to make for a good skeleton. You can get the Knave in English or Spanish. All of this stuff looks like it comes in an English or Spanish version, so I'll refrain from pointing out the difference going forward. The Queen tier gives you the core game plus all extra physical components available to the core game. So this is just 20 euros less than the all-in King tier. It is 140 euros. Not sure what the difference is. I think it's the fact that it doesn't come with the Rat People expansion. Okay. Certainly there has to be more. No, that's it. So actually, it's like the expansion is 42 euros, but you're only getting it for 20 euros more if you get the King tier versus the Queen tier. And then the expansion is an add-on. Retail bundles are next. The all-in League of Dungeoneers King. Something called Ace, which is an early bird. This is a limited luxury set with everything included. This one looks like it is no more copies available. It's not available anymore. Only available in English, though. And then, of course, the retail bundles. again. Here are our stretch goals. We have 5 out of 16 unlocked. I'd like to see what we have unlocked. Thank you. An increased art budget. So they increased their art budget, and next they're doing an upgrade to the art. I don't like that. It is such a... does not feel like a transparent stretch goal. But anyway, huge rooms for the false prophet, and indeed you can see that this is a 6x12 tile for the false prophet. Huge tile to set down. That's bad, because in a game that endeavors to be like WarhammerQuest, that's going to have a lot of enemies on it. Oh god. Hit zone dice. That's very interesting. You see there's a bunch of people doing the T-pose on every side, every face of the die, but there's an indicator on different body parts. We've got a head shot, gut shot, right arm, I would endeavor to say left arm, leg, enemy weapons and art. That was at the 75,000 pledged. That's nice. Enemy deck, weapons deck, they now get card art. That's what it is. So many art tiers, art stretch goals. Come on now. 30,000 euros gave us a new rulebook cover. Another art stretch goal? Stop it. What are the future stretch goals? Improved character art, music and ambiance? How are you going to do that? Are you just going to make a website we go to on our mobile devices and just play the music? I don't like that. New professions art, better paper quality. This is a real stretch goal, better paper quality. Larger rule cards with art. Larger rule cards is a real stretch goal. Larger rule cards for the false prophet. Increased art budget again. Pre-made characters, play along tutorial. That's not a real stretch goal. That is a thing that should already be available. Improved miscast mechanics. At 650,000 euros, your stretch goal is improved miscast mechanics, something that we can just homebrew, something that you could easily just tell us about. Are you kidding me? I'm going to back this game. I'm going to do it at the king tier. But my god, your stretch goals are garbage. They are garbage, and you know it. There were a lot of details in the original League of Dungeoneers that I was excited to read about when I was going through the original campaign Kickstarter. And in fact, just to hype you up a little bit more, we're going to check that out. I wanted to point out a couple of things. This does look a lot like Warhammer Quest 95, which is a game that I really love, and I die in it a lot, but I do love the game. I love the idea that someday I'm going to be able to play this Souls-like board game and actually win a dungeon with characters that are still alive, and then be able to take them into another dungeon, and those that survive that one will actually have a chance to grow and be real, reusable characters. The thing that I really find curious about this is that there are a ton of tiles. Warhammer Quest doesn't have this many tiles. There are a ton of cards. The monster cards are all split up by the genre of monster. Genre of monster? This is a horror monster. This is a romance monster. That's actually not a bad idea. I'm going to use that. Don't steal it. Do not steal my romance monster genre cards. Room cards, there are 47. So this isn't proof of what I suspect just yet, but we're going to get to the proof of what I suspect, and you're going to know what it is that I suspect. We have travel event cards, which I love, off-road, roads, and desert versions. We have quick reference cards. We have monster, equipment, and spell cards. This is what I mean about like typographical or missing punctuation or something. This makes it seem like there's monster equipment, but this is 3 different decks: monster, equipment, and spell cards. And then it comes with a deck of playing cards. The original one does. I don't know if the new one does. I guess it has to if they're like pretty important to the gameplay or if there's an element of play that involves them. But it's a standard poker deck. That's insane to me. How are they going to use this deck of cards? That sounds so wacky and actually really cool and kind of incredible. Like, I'll be able to take this Dungeoneers deck out and play solitaire with it. The only thing I really hope for is that they don't stick with, if they are doing this with the reprint, they don't stick with the boring standard poker design. They've got all this art budget, you know, like 18 tiers devoted to art. They can absolutely afford to replace the symbols on the standard poker deck, at least the royal suits, because there's nothing more boring than getting a pack of cards that are like licensed and awesome looking art on the back, only to flip them over and they are just the garden variety poker deck. And I say that because I play a lot of Klondike solitaire and stuff, and I use lots of different decks. It's one of my hobbies. I collect different poker decks of cards related to fantasy and stuff, anime, video games, and I don't like this standard deck. It is so lazy. Anyway, 30 doors. So we've got 10 open, 10 shut, and 10 with cobwebs. I don't know why we have 30 doors. Here's a picture of the world map, 610 by 610 millimeters, foldable, and a neoprene map was also in the stretch goals of the original. We had 16 wooden cubes and 8 dice, a set of what I like to call the Dungeons & Dragons standard, and then 2 d6s, 1 red, 1 blue. We had 114 tokens, and then for add-ons, here were our 400 standees for 16 euros. And so I wanted to talk about the standees. This game uses standees. It doesn't use plastic miniatures. It doesn't use our beloved 3D miniatures. And I know that this is going to be a point of contention for some folks. There are some folks that back it who have tons of miniatures already, and they're just going to use their miniatures. They don't have a problem with it. Other folks are kind of like on the fence because they're not sure they want a game that has standees. So I will just say, I don't think that there's any standees out there right now that I like. I have a lot of figures, I have figurines, I have statues, I have miniatures, and I love having those things. I would not like to have plastic standees. I've seen acrylic standees. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like all the rage at GameStop and stuff, and they've got like anime characters and stuff on them, and they're still like 17, 20 bucks for this standee that you can see through. And I don't really get it. Like, I don't get it. But I do get it as far as for use with a board game, because this is a way to really cut down on costs. And like, we've had standees in board games before, right? So this at least does make sense to me. It's not going to be everybody's preference, and it's not my preference, but it does have art on the front and on the back. And I will say, give it a chance maybe, because if there's one thing that would be really easy to make on your own, I would say it would be standees. Not a fan of like the old paper standees. I'm glad that these seem to be a lot thicker, a lot sturdier, more like tiles, the thick tile cardstock stuff. But like recently I got into Carcassonne, and I also ordered a copy of Tiny Epic Dungeons, which I promptly returned because it was advertised to be the Kickstarter version and it wasn't, and I was overcharged. But I'll get it again, and I'll get the appropriate version. But both of these games have meeples. They have little wooden, vague representations of what you're putting down on the gameplay surface. And you know what? I didn't think I'd like meeples. I wasn't a fan of the idea of meeples. I'm kind of okay with them. I'm kind of like attached to them just a little bit. I wouldn't say that they're ever going to replace 3D miniatures for me. I'll always choose miniatures, but I kind of liked them. And I gotta say, if the art is good enough, which I don't like this style. It's great art, but it's the style's not for me for this older version. But if the art was good, I really wouldn't mind having a bunch of standees for my game. I can sub in my own miniatures, but I probably won't do that because I don't like digging my miniatures out over and over. And I do that enough with the HeroQuest system because I set things up all the time that are HeroQuest related. There's no way I'm going to get that stuff out and set it up over and over again with this game. But anyways, I just thought I would give my 2 cents about the standees. Not my preference, but I'll give them a chance. The other thing that interests me about this, 25 3D doors. Okay, this add-on for the original had 15 open doors and 10 closed doors. Supplied unpainted. I want to point out that for it to come with that many doors, it means that their use is necessitated, which is kind of scary and interesting because WarhammerQuest plays out such that you've got 13 rooms. That's it. You have your starting room and there are 12 doors, and you take a total of 13 cards, dungeon cards. That's your dungeon deck. That's going to be all you do. So for this to have this many doors, 15 open doors, that means that there's potentially 16 rooms that will be all connected. So your game will actually last a little bit longer than it would in WarhammerQuest, which means more chance for death. That's interesting to me. What else is interesting is that there's just a ton of room tiles. The Ancient Lands expansion was an add-on for the original. It's going to come with the core game this time, which I think is great. But 22 new tiles, and of course, cards that will come with them. And the cards play out just like in WarhammerQuest, where when you are ready to unlock a new room or reveal it on the board, the ever-growing board, which Bardic Broadcasts hates, you'll draw a card, and that card will tell you what room tile you're actually going to set down and what effects may take place in that room, if any. The metal coins were an add-on. This is a picture of 3D printed coins, like prototypical, but basically representing what the metal coins would be, and these now come with the base game in the King tier. And of course the Companions expansion, which gives you options for having like dogs, familiars for your wizards, and mercenaries, pre-made heroes, to join you if you need help with your solo quests, which I'm going to play this thing solo, so it's going to be really cool to have. The spell and prayer cards also were included as an add-on in the original. Good to see that these are part of the basic game now, as well as all of this stuff. The Write a Quest would have been so cool to get in on. I don't know that I would have been able to pass this up in the original. I would have loved to have written a quest and have my name in the League of Dungeoneers. Or they probably wouldn't have included my name. They probably would have been like, yeah, it's ours now. You're signing the rights over to us. But it still would have been really, really cool to make the quest. So anyways, guys, that's League of Dungeoneers. It looks like it's going to be, again, very boldly, it claims to be the follow-up to Warhammer 95 that we've all been waiting for, whatever that may mean. And I see some very unique tiles versus what comes with Warhammer. I see the cross tile here, for example. This is going to be fun to put back in the box, I can tell. And a lot of expansion material, so definitely enough adventures to last you a long time. And I love that it comes with character growth. I'm a character growth nut. I love analyzing character growth, developing character growth, writing characters. That stuff is, I'm all about it. I'm all about it from a literary standpoint as well as an RPG mechanical standpoint. And to be able to do that, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm already very much attached to this halfling looking lady right here to the left of this archer. I wonder what her story is. They said 4 races. Do we have elf, human, dwarf, and halfling? Is that what we've got going on? Somebody confirm that for me. I want to know. I want to know, because this lady here and this lady here look like different races. They don't look like the same. She's significantly shorter, just like the guy way over here to the right of this dwarf. I would say this is definitely the dwarf. This has got to be a halfling, right? Got to be. There's hair on his feet. There's hair on her feet. It's pretty much established. That's pretty much all I needed to see. So please comment anything you like down below. Tell me, are you planning on backing this? Does this video help you want this? Tell them that Ash sent you so that they can be like, who? And not care. But let me know, because I'd be curious who all is getting in on this with me. Guys, thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.